So that was, we made one stop from the ghetto, put us on a train. They made a one stop in a city called Casa, Casa, and everybody had to. They told us all the jewelries. They gave us a pail. The Germans gave us a pail. All the jewelry, whatever we had, which had to do with money or jewelry, had to be put in that pail. If they find anything, they're gonna kill anything. So then they looked through, and then this was the stop. And there we were going straight to Auschwitz. It took several days.
And this was in the box. This was in the boxcar.
In the boxcar, and whatever food we had with us, they didn't. They gave us nothing, no water, nothing. And so the kids were crying. They were thirsty.
And you were still with your parents and your sister and the baby.
The same boxcar.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids crying. They were thirsty. So they drank their pee.
Right.
They made it cold. They put it to the window, so it should be not window. There's no window. And finally, we arrived to Auschwitz. Maybe it took 3-4 days. I don't remember. It was quite a 7.
You remember that?
That's of course. How do I remember? Because our parents, the parents, were davening with such a kavana, like nothing is happening.
Wow.
They had such a muna. So we arrived to Auschwitz, and immediately they separated men and women. So this is the last time I saw my mother, my sister, and the baby, and it was only my father. My father was in front of me, and we came to Mengele, was standing there. You heard about Mengele.
Yeah.
Looked at my father and put him to the left, and I was next, so I was a skinny kid, so I put on so they sent me to the right.
Did you know what it meant at that time?
No idea at that time, but I don't know, somehow it's just a feeling. So they put us in one big barn. They cut everybody's hair to delouse us. That's what it's called. All of a sudden, a man comes there. An older. I was a kid. I was 16 and a half. He was maybe 8-9 years older than me, cousin Yanko.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked me, "Are you Yene?" Because he knew my brother Arius.
Mm-hmm.
He looked alike.
You look a lot alike, yeah.
So I said, no. I said, because he knew my brother, because he helped me in Budapest. So I said, I'm the brother, and so he tells me these are the words. I said, so from this day on, it says you have to forget you had a mother, a father, a sister, a brother. Nothing exists. It says all you have to do is survive. And you have to stay always in the same line with me. Because when they separated from one group to another, we were 5 in a line. So he says, every time when they put us in a line, you always stay next to me. He saved my life, actually.
How did he know that was the way to be?
He had already experienced.
Mm-hmm.
He was there a while.
Uh-huh.
Because he was caught, he's from Czechoslovakia, and he was caught in Hungary, in Budapest.
Uh-huh.
So they took him before us. And he was in a camp there also in Hungary already. He heard, he knew already what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So we were 3 days in Auschwitz. They put us in like in a bunk bed, 6 or 8 in one line, just wood, nothing else. And they gave us like a pajama outfit. And they gave us a little soup, whatever it was, and a piece of bread. And they never had a chance to give a stamp on our head. They gave us in the neck our number.
You wore it around your neck?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My number was 41,270.
You remember that?
How do I remember? That's another story. So after 3 days, they took us to a labor where we had to do work. So luckily, he wound up, he was in the kitchen, a cook. He had good friends there. His group of friends, they all became officials doing something. So I had food. And of course that was survival. But I gave away most of my food to people whom I knew there, because I was a small eater. And I was assigned to work in a quarry. You know what a quarry is?
Yeah.
The first day I picked up that hammer, First of all, you have to know how to break a stone. Luckily, the German boss, not an SS, the one who was in charge of the quarry, he got a like in me, and he taught me how to break stones without effort, Stones have, like wood, it has veins. Later on, he taught me how to use dynamite, and I was a dynamite expert eventually, because we work by a mountain, and you have to put dynamite to have the stone come down from the mountain. And I used to get 20 cigarettes a week, which was like $1 million, You could buy anything for cigarettes. But I didn't smoke to begin with, so I gave the cigarettes to my cousin, because he smoked. People used to sell their food for a cigarette. So I stayed there till about, I don't know the timeline, January, February 1945. And then we heard that the Russians are coming for one side, the Americans the other side. So the question was what to do. If I stayed there with my cousin, that became a hospital, that lager, it's called. So he was afraid if I stayed there in the hospital, he could have put me in the hospital to stay. Then they're gonna kill us all because we are sick.
Right.
So the decision was to move with the rest. So we're moving, walking from one town to another, sleeping in barns, whatever they fancy. And there was a Jewish heart doctor there with us. So he taught us, just try to rest. Every rest is like you save a life. And some people were very hungry. They went out to see what's in the garbage. So they picked up some shells of potato, and they were shot on the spot. So I had some bread with me, and someone stole it. It's nothing new. So finally, they put us on a boxcar. Whoever was in there, a lot of people. Luckily, where I was the first car after the SS, because the SS was had a nice regular car, and sometimes they threw leftover food to our wagon, so I survived. But by the time we reached Bergen-Belsen, most people were dead.
In the boxcar.
Because, from hunger, from cold, it was cold, freezing weather. So I told you about the two brothers.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. So you want me to tell it again?
Yeah.
So there were the two brothers who came from a town named Kerestier, which is 8 kilometers where I was born. And they were one of the followers of Reb Shayla Kerestier, who was a big Rebbe. He performed miracles. And he promised his name is Reader, these two brothers, he promised the family, be going back to the 1920s, that they'll be always saved. So these two brothers were always sitting next to each other in the boxcar. And when he arrived to Dresden, it was a big industrial city, American bombers came and they wiped out the whole city. They didn't worry about the population,
Mm-hmm.
It's not like here in Gaza. They just carpet bomb everything. So when the bombs were coming, so one of the brothers got up to look around what goes on. And someone sat next to the other brother. And a shrapnel hit this guy and he was killed right there. As a background to that, these two brothers, when we were in the original lager, which was called Dernhau, they escaped. They were very strong escape, but they were caught. And they were supposed to be hanged the same day, and word came that we have to move. And they still had a yellow patch on their back because that was whoever was hanged. So they were saved there too. And they survived. They survived the war. So we arrived to Bergen-Belsen, and all of a sudden I hear two girls yelling out, "Who is here from Tokay?" I recognized their voice. They were also coming from somewhere. I went to school with them, these two girls.
Wow.
And that's it. So I told them, I yelled over who I was. They survived. I'll tell you about it later. So we arrived to Bergen-Belsen, and the whole town full of dead bodies. Whoever survived, they couldn't anymore walk, so they killed them right under. And the funny part is the Germans said that they didn't know what goes on, Bergen-Belsen was a big city. So Bergen-Belsen was the worst camp I was, the worst. It was dead all around us. My job was to pick up dead people or half dead and put them on a wagon to the crematoriums. That's what I did all day long. Well, I wasn't there too long, then they shipped me to another camp. That city was called Stettin. And we had to was also bombed, and we had to work to pick up the steel and whatever it was. And all the commandos were Polish, not Jews. The capos, all on Polish going, they hated us. And so one of them were asking, what's my number? I lost that thing. And for a minute I forgot it, and they beat the hell out of me. They hit my head all over. So I remember the number forever. And I don't know how long we were there. And then we moved to a city by the name of Bart. There was an aeroplane factory there where Savta worked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had no idea there's a women's lager next to us. So we worked there also, and it was already in April. We already heard that the war is sort of maybe coming to an end. All of a sudden came a word that everybody line up. It was at night. And I'm standing in the line, I'm thinking, if I go, chances are maybe I'll be killed. If I stay, maybe I'll stay alive. So I escaped from the line. It was nighttime, and I was hiding.
Where did you hide?
In one of the barracks there. And the same night, the Russians liberated us. So everybody was running in where the food is. Never, those people who were eating the food, they died because they overate.
Mm-hmm.
Never, the stomach couldn't take it. So about maybe a day or two, whatever later, all of a sudden, there's 18 Jewish girls and myself. So we thought that we are the only survivor. We had no idea what goes on.
So the girls showed up at your camp?
Hmm?
The girls showed up at your camp?
Yeah, they showed up in the same time.
Okay.
So Savta was among them. So I made sure that they had clothes and got everything, food.
1 second before you continue.
Huh?
The people that were lined up that night, did they all get killed?
We don't know. Oh, which one, by Savta?
No, when you were hiding.
No, I don't know. They took them away. I never
Okay.
knew what happened to them.
So you were just left.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I took care of all the girls, and I liked Savta right away. All I saw is 2 eyes, because she was like skin and bone. Everybody was like skin and bone. And we all stayed always in the same room. The reason was because the Russians they saved our life, but they liked girls. They didn't see girls for years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if they saw somebody, like a man or a boy, they didn't bother, Because I saw the girls who were there, other girls, and the Russian soldiers came in, they jumped out of the window. But they didn't bother us. So eventually I got very sick there, and I was taken there was a hospital in the same spot. There was a Jewish Russian doctor, a woman, was like a mother. And she took care of me. As a primitive thing, I had water in my chest, and she pumped it out. It's like she put in a needle here and pumped out the water. And then I heard that the rest of the people have to move out from that place, and the Russians, we were free. I mean, it's not, but they took us to another place. So I said, I can't stay in the hospital. I want to go with the girls. Being that I was sick, so they put me on a carriage with the Russian soldiers. They were women soldiers. And Savta and the other girls were walking after the carriage. So then we came to, by the time I reached the next time I got well, forgot the city's name, I think it was Finsterland, whatever. But we always stayed in the same room. I had to always turn my back every time the girls got dressed or undressed. But I got used to that already. And when I said goodbye to the girls, I kissed all the girls except Savta. She wouldn't let me. And then I got typhus. That was very bad. And it was in a Russian hospital. And they were very primitive, everything. They fed us all this fat food, which was not good. So Savta came with a non-Jewish guy, a Hungarian non-Jew. He was also in the concentration camp. And they stole me out of the window. So then
This was after you said goodbye to all the girls?
This
was after you said goodbye to all the girls?
That was before, when they were starting to move.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'm going to stay there.
Uh-huh.
So at any rate, what happened is, then we were on the way back to Budapest. And by the time I reached Budapest, I got well. So we get into a trolley car, and we found out that Savta found out that Uncle Moshe is alive. And in the trolley car, and I found out that that my brother Arish is alive. So we stayed in Budapest for a few days, I don't know. Then Savta went to her hometown, and I went back to Tokyo. And
You can take it.
it's my nephew.